Hi, here's the last two cards from the Focus Friday featuring Beautiful Autumn Bundle. Comes with 3 different punches. You unlock and you slide the paper in the top. I'm going to be using Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Magenta Madness together with Pretty Peacock. So I put all of my stamps on one acrylic block on different sides of the block. I'm stamping the outline and I turn it over, and then I'm going to stamp the inside, the coloring portion. Now it's kind of hard to line it up as I can't really stand right over it, but I just want you to know you can take a marker and fill in the spaces that are left blank. You turn the punch upside down so you can see right where it is before you punch it. Super easy to line them up. Adding texture to your card just makes it so much nicer. Layers and textures. And what I should have done before, like I'm doing with this one, I should have stamped off first to make the ink a little bit lighter. And that's what I recommend for you to do. Stamp off first before you actually ink your leaves. The sentiment we are going to emboss. We use our embossing buddy first and then the Versamark. We're going to use white embossing powder. And then I'll heat them with the heat gun, heat it to set the white powder. And then I'm going to use the Timeless Label Punch. Punch out the sentiment. And you can kind of see I'm going to layer. Okay, this ribbon, I couldn't find the name of it. It's Bumblebee is the color, and it's a gingham print. Then what I do is my bunny ears and tie that in a knot. That's how I make my bows. And then you adjust both sides. Trim off the edges. I'm using the glue dots to adhere the leaves. First, I'll adhere the green leaves to the back of the sentiment, and then I'll put the pink leaves directly on the white cardstock. It's just easier to layer it this way. It gives another layer. It's not right on the paper itself, so it gives a little bit of height. I'm going to use dimensionals on the sentiment. Glue dot for the bow, and then Stampin' Dimensionals. This is your take your pick tool. It makes it really handy to take the backings off of the dimensionals. And then I kind of look at it, how I'm going to layer it. I just cut 2 circles and cut them in half. That's what I'm going to use as my scallop on the bottom. And then I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive to adhere to the designer series paper, and then I'll put the designer series paper, see that they're double backed, so you could actually use the other side. And then I will adhere it to my card base. And this first card is done. Ready for the second card. All right, we're using many layers, many layered blossoms dies. We cut out 2 different colors of yellow for our flowers. And they are not exactly the same shape, so you've got to match them up together, the outline with the background that they go with. Then a stitched circle from my Stitched Shapes framelits. I had previously stamped these in Pretty Peacock. And then the sentiment is going to be, we are going to do the same thing we did before and heat emboss the white. And just cut at an angle. Now this is twine, and I tie my bow the same way. I do 2 bunny ears and tie them in a knot, and then you adjust the sides. We'll just layer the flowers and the leaves onto the circle. Then we'll use a glue dot on the twine to adhere the bow. And then we'll use a Stampin' Dimensional on the sentiment. You just need one on one side because the bow does lift up the other side. There you go. Now we're ready to assemble the card together. Adhere the cardstock to the card base. This is a designer series paper that coordinates beautifully with our cardstock. And then I will use dimensionals on the sentiment to lift that up, give it a pop. There you go. There's our 2 cards. That concludes our Focus Friday of Beautiful Autumn.